Hey everybody, it's Gemini Gray here for another edition of This Old Messy Man Cave. Actually, what I want to talk about today is I ordered from Chapterhouse Studios their magnetic Razorback turret set because I've got a bunch of Gray Knights that would like to be able to hot swap some of these suckers. So I bought two kits, and they came in the mail a while back, and I finally got a chance to open it up and take a look at it. This is my first Chapterhouse Studios purchase, so didn't really know what to expect. What we've got here is a total of 4 sprues and the magnets to go with it. You can see here is your base plug-in for the turret to sit on and the cover. You've got, this sprue has one of the assault cannons and the 2 heavy bolters. They've got their own, of course, slightly different design for the heavy bolter, so it took me a second to really recognize what I was looking at. This one here is, you got your 2 las cannons, 2 heavy flamers, and the other assault cannon. The resin itself, I didn't see any bubbles or anything in there. It's going to take a little bit of cutting and a little bit of cleaning up, more so than I would really expect with some of GW's models. But overall, it should be not a problem. The last sprue here has the guns themselves on it, the mounts, along with the 2 plasmas, and looks like a little bit of an accessory. I'm not that familiar with where that plug-in is going to go, so we're going to kind of piece this together as we go along. The whole idea of the kit is basically so you can hot swap from twin link las, twin link heavy bolters, las plas, twin link plas. It's all geared to where you can put the magnets in pre-drilled, so you can glue them in and basically hot swap without a little bit of the effort of having to drill all the magnetization holes or to buy all the parts. So we're going to put stuff together here and take a look, see how it all goes, and I'll kind of give you a step-by-step update as I try not to mangle this thing too much. Alright, I've got everything off the sprue, and something I figured I would pass along, a little bit of learned through error, is, well, they don't come with an instruction manual, so you really just kind of dive into it and see what you get. One thing I noticed real quickly on as I was cleaning stuff off the sprue, and I didn't think much about it, is at the end of each one of these guns there are 2 holes. One of these you are going to put and glue a magnet in place from, and the other one is actually for a peg to sit down into. The bigger guns, your las cannons, your assault cannons, they have the hole for the magnet to go into. Then they also have the peg. So when you get to doing this, don't do like me and say, oh look, extraneous bit must clip off. So yeah, as I said, no instructions, makes it a little bit tricksy, but so far it's not that complicated. That whole measure twice, cut once thing applies even for miniatures. Who knew? Alright, let's clean these up and we'll get together and start getting some of this stuff glued and assembled together and see how it looks. Alrighty guys, I have gotten everything taken apart, magnets glued into place, more or less all assembled. I've pulled out one of my Razorbacks here for comparison with a couple of different turret options that I use on them. Usually I use the, of course, the side-back, the twin-linked heavy bolters, and occasionally twin-linked las cannons. So those are the GW prescribed model formats. Here is the actual turret mount that is the Chapterhouse produced. You can see there where the magnets go in and the 2 holes for pegs to go in for some added stability. Just comparing the 2 side by side, you can definitely see that the Chapterhouse is larger in the mounting. Definitely larger with the overall casing going on. When you go in here to actually put in, we'll put the las cannons in, if I can manage to do it without making a complete mess. Las cannons mount in there like that. And you can tell that I noticed on both the las cannons and on the heavy bolters, if you were playing in a very strict competitive rule set, you are gaining a little bit of range because of the length of the weapons. Less than half an inch on both ones, but it is there. So if you're playing in that sort of scenario where that's going to be an issue, you might not want to use these, or at least you may want to shorten them up. Here it is mounted on there. It fits down onto the circular hole just fine. Looks pretty good. You can tell that on some of them, if you just slap them on there, you might get a little bit of wiggle in there. Overall, it does the job. I don't think it's economical. It is not GW standard, obviously, and there are a little bit of design and specifications that are a little bit off with it because of that. Some of the holes that were drilled for the magnets were either too large in this case of this assault cannon, or in some cases they weren't deep enough, and you wound up with a little bit of protrusion of the magnet. It led to a little bit more wobbliness, especially on like the heavy flamers where there is not that peg to help support them. I've never really used the twin link las plas too much, so I'm not exactly sure how it's expected to go in. These are the plas are small, magnet, no peg. So that was a little bit confusing for me, but it's not an option I'm going to really be running. I got it mainly so I could swap out from heavy bolters to las cannons as needed. So in short, economical, yay, good. A little bit confusing to put on. A suggestion, any magnet makers out there that does this for gaming, I would love it if your stuff came pre-painted with one side, one pole being painted, so I didn't wind up gluing it in the wrong way and having to pry stuff out. I mean, I can't be the only one stupid enough to do that. So that would be cool. I'd pay $1 or $2 extra just for somebody to go ahead and pre-sharpie one side. Other than that, I like it style-wise. I kind of like the bigger look of it, so I'm digging on it. It's easy to swap out. The magnets pull right off. It helps if you don't have pulled this mounted in there. The autocannons, as I said earlier, have a different look, so be prepared for some questions from your opponent, because that almost looks a little bit like a melt end at first glance, depending on how you painted it. I kind of dig it. Looks definitely more imposing side by side than, say, the GW standard heavy bolters. A lot larger, as you can tell right there. You're gaining some actual potentially useful distance since you are measuring your ranges from your weapon mounts. So there you have it, the Razorback magnetic turret model from Chapterhouse Studios. It retails for about $17.50 on their website plus shipping. Definitely beats having to buy a different kit just to get some turrets. Not really sure, haven't researched what a separate turret and options would run you for on something like Spiky Bits or one of the other Bits websites. But it's definitely economical. If you want options, it's good. Just expect to have a little bit of fussiness in putting it together and potentially some arguments with your opponents if you were in a super serious for reals game. Other than that, peace out, and if the baby allows it, I'll do some more of these soon. Got a running the What's That Do tournament the weekend after next, and might actually make it out to the Redstone Rumble up in Huntsville. So hoping to see you guys at one of those two events. Other than that, I'll catch you out on the internets.